Welcome to Tales by Felix, where every story unlocks a new world. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Let's begin. The rain-slicked streets of Seattle glistened under the sodium glow of streetlights as Liam Carver pulled his rental car into the driveway of his Queen and home. It was just past midnight, July 16, 2025, and the city was cloaked in a damp, restless quiet. He hadn't been home in 6 months, 6 grueling months spent in Shanghai, sealing a multimillion-dollar deal for his tech startup. The fatigue of the long flight clung to him, but the thought of seeing Amelia, his wife of 7 years, kept his eyes open and his heart racing. He killed the engine and sat for a moment, staring at the house. It was a modern 2-story with floor-to-ceiling windows, a monument to their shared dreams, or so he'd thought. The lights were on, a soft golden glow spilling onto the manicured lawn, but something felt off. The air was too still, the silence too heavy. No music drifted from the open windows, no clatter of dishes from the kitchen where Amelia usually cooked late-night pasta when she couldn't sleep. Just nothing. Liam grabbed his duffel bag and stepped out, the drizzle soaking into his jacket. His boots crunched on the gravel path as he approached the front door. He fumbled for his keys, then hesitated. The door was slightly ajar, a sliver of light escaping into the night. His stomach twisted. Amelia was meticulous about locking up. Maybe she's just distracted, he muttered, pushing the door open. The foyer was pristine, as always, but the air carried an unfamiliar scent, cologne, sharp and musky, not his own. His pulse quickened. "Amelia," he called softly, his voice barely above a whisper. No response. The silence pressed against him, thick and oppressive, like a warning. He set his bag down and moved toward the living room, his footsteps muffled on the hardwood. The house felt alive yet alien, as if it were holding its breath. A low hum of voices reached him, and he froze. One was Amelia's, soft and melodic, laced with a warmth he hadn't heard in months. The other was deeper, male, unfamiliar. Liam's chest tightened. He edged closer, staying in the shadows of the hallway. "Amelia, you worry too much," the man's voice said, smooth and confident. "He's not coming back tonight. You said so yourself." Liam's breath caught. He pressed himself against the wall, heart hammering. Who the hell was he? Liam's hand trembled as he leaned forward, peering through the half-open living room door. The scene before him was a gut punch. Amelia sat on the couch, her auburn hair spilling over her shoulders, her laughter bright as she leaned into a man Liam didn't recognize. He was tall, with sharp cheekbones and a tailored blazer, his arm draped casually over Amelia's shoulder. A bottle of red wine sat on the coffee table, 2 glasses half full, the scene intimate, domestic, wrong. Liam's eyes darted to the floor. A pair of polished loafers sat by the couch, not his. A leather jacket hung on the armchair, not his either. The room spun slightly, and he gripped the doorframe to steady himself. 7 years of marriage, countless late-night talks, shared dreams of a family, a future, it all crumbled in that single, searing moment. I don't know, Ethan," Amelia said, her voice tinged with unease. "What if he shows up? I mean, he's been gone so long, but—" "Relax, sweetheart," the man, Ethan, cut in, his tone soothing but patronizing. "He's too busy playing tech mogul halfway across the world. You deserve this. You deserve us." Liam's jaw clenched. He wanted to storm in, demand answers, shatter their cozy little scene. But something stopped him, a cold, calculating instinct. He needed to know more. He needed to understand the depth of this betrayal, because this wasn't just a fling. The way Ethan spoke, the way Amelia leaned into him, it was too familiar, too practiced. He backed away, his movements silent, deliberate. The betrayal burned, but he wouldn't let it consume him. Not yet. Liam retreated to the foyer, his mind racing. The laughter from the living room followed him, each chuckle a dagger to his heart. He slipped into the guest bathroom, closing the door soundlessly, and splashed cold water on his face. The mirror reflected a man he barely recognized, hollow-eyed, jaw tight, a stranger to the life he'd built. He pulled out his phone and opened the security app for the house's cameras. Amelia had insisted on installing them last year after a string of neighborhood break-ins. Liam had barely used the system, trusting her implicitly. Now, he logged in, his fingers shaking as he navigated to the live feed. The living room camera showed Amelia and Ethan, closer now, her hand resting on his knee. Liam's stomach churned, but he forced himself to watch, to listen through the app's audio feed. "You're sure about the paperwork?" Ethan was saying, his tone shifting to something colder, more businesslike. "The transfer's set for next week?" Amelia hesitated, her smile faltering. "Yeah, it's all in place. But Ethan, this feels big. Permanent." "It is permanent," Ethan replied, his voice smooth but edged with impatience. "You're not backing out now, are you? After everything we've planned?" Liam's blood ran cold. Paperwork. Transfer. What the hell were they talking about? He switched to the kitchen camera, catching a glimpse of documents on the counter. Legal forms, signatures scrawled in Amelia's elegant handwriting. He zoomed in, but the resolution was too grainy to read details. His mind raced. This wasn't just infidelity. This was something bigger, something calculated. He closed the app, his decision made. Confronting them now would give them the upper hand. He needed to be smarter, to uncover the full scope of their plan. He slipped out of the bathroom, grabbed his duffel, and left the house as silently as he'd entered, the rain masking his departure. The city blurred past as Liam drove, the rain hammering his windshield. His mind was a storm of anger, hurt, and determination. He couldn't go to a hotel, too impersonal, too exposed. He needed someone he could trust, someone who'd listen without judgment. That someone was Chloe Monroe, his college friend and confidant, who lived across town in Capitol Hill. Chloe's apartment was a cozy contrast to the sterile luxury of his own home. When she opened the door, her hazel eyes widened at the sight of him, disheveled, rain-soaked, and carrying a haunted expression. "Liam? What the hell happened?" she asked, pulling him inside. "You look like you've seen a ghost." He dropped onto her couch, the weight of the night crashing down. "Not a ghost," he said, voice hoarse. "My wife. With another man." Chloe's jaw dropped. She poured 2 glasses of whiskey and handed him one. "Start from the beginning. Don't leave anything out." He recounted everything, the silence of the house, the unfamiliar cologne, the laughter, the documents. Chloe listened, her face a mix of shock and fury. When he finished, she leaned back, swirling her glass. "Amelia's not just cheating," Chloe said, her voice sharp. "This sounds like a con. The paperwork, the transfer, she's planning something big, and this Ethan guy's probably the brains." Liam nodded, the whiskey burning his throat. "I need to know what they're doing. I can't just walk away and let them destroy everything." Chloe leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with resolve. "Then we fight smart. You don't confront her yet. You gather evidence, protect your assets, and hit them where it hurts. I've got a friend, a PI named Marcus. He's discreet, and he's good. You in?" Liam met her gaze, a spark of determination igniting within him. "I'm in." The next morning, Chloe's apartment buzzed with purpose. Marcus, a wiry man with a shaved head and a no-nonsense demeanor, sat at the kitchen table, his laptop open. Liam handed him a USB drive with the security footage he'd downloaded before leaving the house. "This is a start," Marcus said, plugging in the drive. "But we need more. Bank records, emails, property deeds, anything that shows what Amelia and this Ethan guy are up to." Liam rubbed his temples. "I don't even know where to begin. Our finances are joint, but she handles most of it. I trusted her." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Rule 1. Never trust anyone with everything. Let's start with your accounts. You got access to your bank's online portal." Liam nodded, pulling out his laptop. As he logged in, his heart sank. Several accounts showed recent transactions, large withdrawals, transfers to unfamiliar accounts. This isn't right," he stammered. "There's over $200,000 missing from our savings." Chloe whistled. "She's moving fast. Marcus, can you trace where it's going?" "Give me a day," Marcus said, already typing furiously. "I'll cross-reference the account numbers and see if they link to this Ethan character. In the meantime, Liam, you need to secure what's left. Change passwords, alert your bank to potential fraud, and don't tip her off." Liam nodded, his fingers flying across the keyboard. As he worked, Chloe paced, her mind racing. "You know what this reminds me of," she said. "That scam we read about in college. Couple in Portland, wife drained the husband's accounts with her lover's help. They almost got away with it." "Almost," Liam said, his voice hard. "Amelia and Ethan won't." By noon, Marcus had a lead. One of the transfers linked to a shell company registered in Ethan's name. "This guy's no amateur," Marcus said, showing Liam the records. "He's done this before. I'll dig into his history, but you need to stay invisible. No contact with Amelia, no social media, nothing." Liam leaned back, the reality settling in. His life was unraveling, but for the first time since last night, he felt a flicker of control. "What's next?" he asked. Marcus grinned, a predator's smile. "We build a case. We watch, we wait, and when the time's right, we bury them." The hum of Chloe's apartment was a stark contrast to the sterile silence of Liam's home. Morning light filtered through the blinds, casting striped shadows across the kitchen table where Liam, Chloe, and Marcus huddled over laptops and coffee mugs. The air was thick with tension, the kind that comes from peeling back layers of deception to reveal something uglier beneath. Marcus's fingers danced across his keyboard, his eyes narrowing as he scrolled through a digital trail. "Got something," he said, his voice low but urgent. "The shell company tied to those transfers? It's registered to an Ethan Caldwell. But that's not his only alias. He's been linked to 3 other scams in the past decade. Same MO, cozying up to wealthy partners, draining their accounts, then vanishing." Liam's grip tightened on his mug, the ceramic warm against his palms. "So Amelia's not just cheating. She's in on this." Marcus shrugged, his expression grim. "Hard to say yet. She could be a pawn or a player. But the money trail doesn't lie. Over $300,000 moved from your joint accounts to that shell company in the last 2 months. And that's just what I've found so far." Chloe leaned forward, her hazel eyes blazing. "What about the house? The investments? Liam, you guys own half of Seattle's tech real estate. Is that at risk?" Liam's stomach churned. He'd built their portfolio from scratch. Startups, commercial properties, a nest egg for their future. The thought of Amelia and Ethan dismantling it felt like a second betrayal. "I need to check everything," he said, pulling up their investment platform. His heart sank as he logged in. Several properties had pending sales, and a joint brokerage account showed a withdrawal of $150,000, initiated by Amelia's login. "Look at this," he said, turning the laptop toward Marcus. "She's selling off our assets. How did I not see this?" "Because you trusted her," Chloe said softly, resting a hand on his shoulder. "That's not a crime, Liam. But we're going to fix this. Marcus, what's our next move?" Marcus cracked his knuckles, a predatory glint in his eye. "We need hard evidence, documents, emails, anything that ties Amelia and Ethan to these transactions. Liam, you got access to her email or cloud storage?" Liam hesitated. "She uses a separate laptop for personal stuff. I know her password, though. She never changed it from our anniversary date." Chloe smirked. "Rookie mistake. Let's get that laptop." Liam shook his head. "Not yet. If I go back to the house, she'll know I was there. We need to be smarter." Marcus nodded. "Agreed. I'll tap into her digital footprint remotely, email, cloud, socials. If she's sloppy, we'll find something. In the meantime, Liam, you need to start locking down what's left of your assets. Call your lawyer." Liam took a deep breath, the weight of his new reality settling in. This wasn't just about a broken heart anymore. It was a war. By noon, Liam was on the phone with his lawyer, Rachel Nguyen, a sharp-witted attorney known for dismantling corporate fraud. Her office in downtown Seattle was a sleek fortress of glass and steel, and Liam felt a flicker of hope as he explained the situation over a secure line. "This is bad, Liam," Rachel said, her voice calm but firm. "If Amelia's forging documents or using a power of attorney without your consent, we're talking serious legal violations. Send me everything Marcus has dug up, and I'll start building a case." Liam forwarded the files, his mind racing. "What about the house? The properties? Can we stop her from selling them?" I'll file for an emergency injunction to freeze all joint assets, Rachel replied. But we need proof of fraud to make it stick. Those documents you mentioned, can you get them? Liam glanced at Marcus, who was hunched over his laptop, hacking into Amelia's cloud storage. Working on it, Liam said. An hour later, Marcus let out a low whistle. Jackpot! He turned his screen to show a scanned document, a power of attorney, dated 3 months ago, granting Amelia full control over Liam's finances. The signature looked like his, but it was too perfect, too practiced. That's not mine, Liam said, his voice tight. I never signed that. Chloe's eyes widened. She forged it. That's bold. Stupid, but bold. Marcus nodded. It's a felony if we can prove it. And there's more. Emails between Amelia and Ethan, discussing the transfer and finalizing the deal. They're careful, but not careful enough. Look at this. He pulled up an email from Ethan. Once the property's clear, we're set. New life, new names. He'll never know. Liam's blood ran cold. New names? They're planning to disappear. Looks like it, Marcus said. But they're not as slick as they think. I've got their IP addresses, timestamps, the works. Rachel's gonna love this. Liam stood, pacing the small apartment. How could she do this? 7 years, and she's ready to burn it all down for this conman. Chloe grabbed his arm, her voice fierce. Because she's not the woman you thought she was. But you're not the man she thinks you are, either. You're smarter than this, Liam. Let's use that. The next day, Liam sat in Rachel's office, surrounded by her team of legal sharks. The conference room smelled of fresh coffee and ambition, the table littered with documents and laptops. Rachel, impeccably dressed in a navy blazer, took charge. Here's the plan, she said, pointing to a whiteboard scrawled with timelines and legal terms. We've got enough to file for an injunction to freeze all joint accounts and property transactions. The forged power of attorney is our golden ticket. It's clear evidence of fraud. But we need to move fast before they liquidate everything. Liam nodded, his jaw tight. What about Ethan? Marcus says he's done this before. Rachel's eyes gleamed. Oh, we're going after him too. I've got a contact at the DA's office who specializes in financial crimes. If Ethan's a repeat offender, we'll bury him in charges. But Liam, you need to stay out of sight. If Amelia suspects you're onto her, she'll escalate. I'm staying at Chloe's, Liam said. She hasn't tried contacting me yet. Probably thinks I'm still in Shanghai. Good, Rachel said. Keep it that way. Marcus, you're our eyes and ears. Keep digging into Ethan's past. We need every alias, every scam, every victim. Marcus grinned, his laptop glowing with data. Already on it. This guy's sloppy, left digital footprints all over Nevada and California. I'll have a full dossier by tomorrow. Chloe leaned forward, her voice sharp. What about Amelia? She's not just a bystander. She's signing these documents, making these calls. Are we treating her as a co-conspirator? Rachel hesitated, glancing at Liam. That depends on what we find. If she's fully complicit, she'll face the same consequences as Ethan. Liam, are you prepared for that? Liam's throat tightened. He thought of Amelia's smile, their late-night talks, the way she'd once looked at him like he was her world. But that was gone, replaced by a stranger who'd forged his signature and stolen his future. Do what you have to, he said finally. I want justice. Over the next 2 days, Marcus's investigation bore fruit. Ethan Caldwell, it turned out, was a ghost, a man who existed in fragments across state lines. His real name was Ethan Warwick, with a rap sheet stretching back a decade. Fraud, embezzlement, identity theft. He'd seduced his way into wealthy circles, drained his victims, and vanished. His latest mark was Amelia, but Marcus suspected she wasn't just a victim. Check this out, Marcus said, showing Liam a photo from a private investigator's database. It was Ethan, arm in arm with a woman in Vegas, 2 years ago. The caption read, "Suspected alias used in $500,000 real estate scam." Liam's jaw clenched. He's a predator. And Amelia's helping him. Not so fast, Marcus said. Her digital trail's different. She's not as clean as Ethan, but she's not a pro either. I found emails where she's asking him questions, nervous, hesitant. He's pushing her, hard. She might be in over her head. Chloe snorted. Doesn't excuse her. She forged Liam's signature, Marcus. She's not innocent. Liam stared at the photo, his mind racing. If she's scared, we can use that. Get her to turn on him. Marcus nodded. Smart. If we can prove she's coerced, Rachel might cut her a deal. But we need more, texts, voicemails, something that shows Ethan's pulling the strings. That night, Marcus hacked into Ethan's burner phone records, uncovering a string of texts to Amelia. One stood out. Stick to the plan, babe. You're mine now. He's nothing. Liam's blood boiled, but he forced himself to stay calm. This was ammunition. The plan came together with surgical precision. Rachel filed the injunction at 8 a.m., freezing all joint accounts and halting property sales. By 10 a.m., Amelia and Ethan were served with legal notices at the house, delivered by a process server who reported Amelia's shock and Ethan's cool detachment. Liam watched the footage from the security app, his heart pounding. Amelia's face crumpled as she read the papers, her hands shaking. Ethan, however, barely flinched, his eyes scanning the document with a predator's calm. They know we're onto them, Liam said, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. Chloe grinned, raising a glass of wine. Good. Let them squirm. Rachel called an hour later. The injunction's in place, she said. No transactions can go through without court approval. But Ethan's slippery. My contact at the DA says he's got offshore accounts we can't touch yet. We need to keep the pressure on. Liam nodded, his resolve hardening. What's next? We go public, Rachel said. Leak the story to a trusted journalist. Let the world know what they've done. It'll flush Ethan out and make it harder for him to run. Liam hesitated, the weight of exposure heavy. What about Amelia? Rachel's voice softened. She made her choices, Liam. But if she's smart, she'll come clean before Ethan drags her down with him. As the call ended, Liam looked at Chloe and Marcus, their faces lit with determination. The battle was just beginning, and he was ready to fight. The news of Liam's lawsuit hit Seattle's elite like a shockwave. By noon the day after Rachel filed the injunction, whispers of Amelia and Ethan's deception began to circulate through the city's tight-knit tech and social circles. Liam sat in Chloe's apartment, scrolling through his phone as notifications pinged, texts from old colleagues, emails from investors, even a cryptic message from a mutual friend. Is it true about Amelia? Call me. Chloe, perched on the arm of the couch, sipped her coffee with a smirk. They're running scared, Liam. I heard from a friend at the country club. Amelia's been dropped from the charity gala committee. Apparently, scandal doesn't pair well with their brand. Liam's jaw tightened. He hadn't wanted this, the public shredding of his private life, but Rachel had been clear, exposure was a weapon. It's working, he said, his voice low. But it feels dirty. Marcus looked up from his laptop, where he was monitoring Ethan's digital activity. Dirty's how you win against guys like him. I just got a hit. Ethan's been emailing a contact in the Caymans. He's trying to move what's left of the money before the courts lock it down. Liam leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Can we stop him? Already on it, Marcus said, typing furiously. I've tipped off Rachel's DA contact. They're working on an international warrant. But we need to keep the pressure on Amelia. She's the weak link. Liam's phone buzzed again, a call from Rachel. He put it on speaker. Talk to me, he said. Good news and bad, Rachel said, her voice crisp. Good, the injunction's holding. No assets are moving. Bad, Amelia's hired a lawyer, some hotshot named Victor Lang. He's claiming you authorized the transfers before you left for Shanghai. That's a lie. Liam snapped, his fists clenching. I never signed anything. I know, Rachel said. We've got the forged power of attorney to prove it. But Lang's good. He'll drag this out unless we hit them harder. I've got a journalist friend, Sarah Klein, ready to break the story. She just needs your green light. Liam hesitated, the weight of the decision pressing down. Going public meant no turning back. His marriage, his reputation, everything would be laid bare. But then he thought of Amelia's laughter with Ethan, the forged signature, the stolen future. "Do it," he said. Chloe grinned, raising her mug in a mock toast. "Here comes the storm." Ethan's cool facade cracked the moment Sarah Klein's article hit the web. Titled, "Tech Mogul's Wife Caught in Financial Fraud Scheme," it detailed the forged documents, the shell company, and Ethan's criminal history. By evening, it was trending on X, with hashtags like #SeattleScandal and #BetrayalUnraveled gaining traction. Liam watched the fallout from Chloe's apartment, his heart a mix of vindication and nausea. Marcus's phone pinged with an alert from his tracking software. "Ethan's on the move," he said, pulling up a map. GPS on his burner phone shows him heading toward Seattle-Tacoma Airport. "He's running." Liam's pulse quickened. "Can we stop him?" Marcus grinned, already dialing Rachel. "Oh, we'll do better than that." Rachel's voice came through the speaker. "I've alerted the DA. They've got Port of Seattle police on standby. If Ethan tries to board a flight, they'll nab him. Liam, you need to stay low. If he knows you're behind this, he might get desperate." Liam nodded, though his mind was racing. He pulled up the security app for his house, checking the live feed. Amelia was alone in the living room, pacing, her phone pressed to her ear. Her face was pale, her movements frantic. "She's falling apart," Liam said, almost to himself. Chloe peered over his shoulder. "Good. Let her feel the heat. Maybe she'll crack and turn on Ethan." Marcus's laptop pinged again. "Hold up," he said, his eyes scanning the screen. "Ethan just booked a one-way ticket to Belize. Flight leaves in 2 hours. He's got a fake passport under the name James Harper." Liam's stomach twisted. "He's really going to disappear." "Not if I can help it," Marcus said, forwarding the details to Rachel. "The DA's got his alias now. He's not getting past security." As the clock ticked, Liam felt a strange mix of adrenaline and dread. Ethan was the mastermind, but Amelia was the one who'd betrayed him. He wanted justice, but a part of him still ached for the woman he'd loved. The conflict gnawed at him, but he pushed it down. There was no room for weakness now. The airport bust was surgical. Liam, Chloe, and Marcus watched the live feed from a police scanner app Marcus had hacked into, the crackle of voices filling the apartment. "Subject detained at Seattle-Tacoma, Terminal B," an officer reported. "ID confirms James Harper, alias Ethan Warwick. Seizing assets and detaining for questioning." Chloe let out a whoop, high-fiving Marcus. "Got him." Liam's relief was tempered by unease. Ethan was caught, but Amelia was still free, still a wild card. He turned to Marcus. "What's she doing now?" Marcus switched to the house's security feed. Amelia was in the kitchen, stuffing documents into a shredder. Her movements were frantic, her face streaked with tears. "She's destroying evidence," Marcus said, recording the footage. "Bad move, Amelia." Liam's phone buzzed, a text from Rachel. "Ethan's in custody. DA's building a case for fraud and identity theft. We need Amelia's testimony to seal it. Can you reach out to her?" Liam stared at the message, his heart pounding. Confronting Amelia meant facing the woman who'd shattered his world. "I don't know if I can," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Chloe squeezed his shoulder. "You don't have to forgive her, Liam. But if she's scared, she might talk. Use that." Marcus nodded. "She's alone now. Ethan's gone, her lawyer's scrambling, and the world's watching. This is your shot." Liam took a deep breath, drafting a text. "Amelia, we need to talk. I know everything. Meet me at the coffee shop on Pike Street, 8 p.m. tonight. Come alone." He hit send, his hands shaking. Minutes later, her reply came, "Okay." The coffee shop was a dimly lit haven, its walls lined with local art and the air thick with the scent of roasted beans. Liam arrived early, choosing a corner booth where he could see the door. His heart raced as he waited, the weight of 7 years of marriage pressing against him. When Amelia walked in, she looked like a ghost of herself, her auburn hair pulled back messily, her eyes red-rimmed, her designer coat wrinkled. She slid into the booth, avoiding his gaze. "Liam," she whispered, her voice trembling. I didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean for what? Liam asked, his tone cold but controlled. For me to find out. Or for you to forge my signature and steal everything we built. Amelia flinched, tears welling. It wasn't like that. Ethan. He made it sound so easy. He said we'd start over, somewhere new. I was lonely, Liam. You were gone all the time. Don't, Liam snapped, his voice low but sharp. Don't blame me for your choices. You forged documents. You sold our properties. You betrayed me. Amelia's hands twisted in her lap. I know, she said, her voice breaking. I was stupid. Ethan. He's not who I thought he was. He used me, Liam. I'm sorry. Liam leaned forward, his eyes locked on hers. Then prove it. Talk to the DA. Tell them everything, Ethan's plans, the accounts, the scams. Help me fix this. She hesitated, fear flickering across her face. If I do, will you forgive me? Liam's chest tightened. He wanted to say yes, to salvage something from the wreckage. But he couldn't. This isn't about forgiveness, he said. It's about doing what's right. Amelia nodded, wiping her eyes. I'll talk to them. But Liam, I loved you. I still do. He stood, his heart heavy but resolute. You don't get to say that anymore. The next morning, Sarah Klein's follow-up article hit like a bomb. Seattle fraud scandal deepens. Wife turns on conman lover, it read, detailing Amelia's agreement to cooperate with the DA and Ethan's mounting charges. Social media erupted, with X-posts dissecting every angle of the story. Liam's name trended alongside hashtag Justice for Liam, and strangers hailed him as a symbol of resilience. Chloe scrolled through the posts, grinning. You're a hero, Liam. Look at this, tech mogul fights back against betrayal. You're viral. Liam didn't smile. The victory felt hollow, tainted by the loss of the life he'd known. He sat in Rachel's office as she briefed him on the latest developments. Amelia's testimony is solid, she said. She's handed over emails, texts, even recordings of Ethan planning the scam. He's facing multiple felony counts, fraud, forgery, money laundering. He's not getting out anytime soon. And Amelia? Liam asked. Rachel's expression softened. She'll face charges for the forgery, but her cooperation might get her a plea deal. Probation, maybe community service. It depends on the judge. Liam nodded, his mind drifting to the coffee shop, to Amelia's tear-streaked face. He hated her for what she'd done, but a part of him pitied her too. She'd been seduced by Ethan's promises, just as he'd been seduced by her lies. Marcus burst in, his laptop under his arm. You're not gonna believe this, he said, pulling up a news alert. Ethan's lawyer just filed a motion claiming Amelia masterminded the whole thing. He's throwing her under the bus. Liam's eyes widened. The betrayal had come full circle, and the reckoning was just beginning. The Seattle skyline shimmered under a rare July sun, its glass towers reflecting a city that never stopped moving. Liam stood on the balcony of his new downtown loft, a modest but modern space he'd leased after leaving Chloe's apartment. It was a fresh start, untainted by the memories of his old home. Below, the city buzzed, oblivious to the storm that had upended his life. But for the first time in months, Liam felt a flicker of peace. Inside, his phone buzzed with updates from Rachel. Ethan's attempt to pin the scam on Amelia had backfired spectacularly. Her testimony, backed by Marcus's digital evidence, had painted Ethan as the mastermind, leaving him drowning in charges, fraud, forgery, money laundering, and identity theft. The DA had seized his offshore accounts, and his bail was denied. Amelia, meanwhile, had accepted a plea deal, 2 years of probation and 500 hours of community service in exchange for her cooperation. Chloe burst through the door, a bottle of champagne in hand. To victory, she declared, popping the cork with a grin. Ethan's toast, Amelia's humbled, and you, my friend, are a goddamn phoenix. Liam chuckled, accepting a glass. Feels more like surviving than winning. Marcus followed, his laptop tucked under his arm as always. Surviving is winning, he said, setting up on the kitchen counter. You took a hit, man, but you're still standing. And check this out. Your new venture's already trending on X. #CarverTech is blowing up. Liam's new startup, a cybersecurity firm born from the ashes of his ordeal, was gaining traction. Investors, inspired by his resilience and the media frenzy around the scandal, were lining up to fund it. He'd channeled his anger and betrayal into something tangible, something that could protect others from predators like Ethan. It wasn't just a business, it was a mission. "Any word from Amelia?" Chloe asked, her tone softening. Liam shook his head. "She sent an email last week, apologizing again. I didn't reply. There's nothing left to say." Chloe nodded, her eyes warm with understanding. "You're doing better than most would, Liam. Most guys would have burned the world down." "Maybe I wanted to," he admitted, staring at the city below. "But I'd rather build something new." The courtroom was a sterile arena, its polished wood and fluorescent lights a stark contrast to the raw emotions swirling within. Liam sat in the witness box, his hands steady despite the weight of Amelia's gaze from the defendant's table. It was the final day of Ethan's trial, and Liam had been called to testify about the forged documents and stolen assets. The room was packed, journalists, tech insiders, even curious onlookers drawn by the viral scandal. Rachel stood, her navy suit sharp as she addressed him. "Mr. Carver, can you confirm that the signature on the power of attorney, dated April 12, 2025, is not yours?" Liam met her eyes, his voice calm but firm. "It's not mine. I was in Shanghai, and I never authorized any transfer of assets." The prosecutor displayed the document on a screen, the forged signature glaringly precise. Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Liam's gaze flicked to Amelia, who sat rigid, her face pale. Ethan, beside her, stared straight ahead, his jaw tight. Rachel continued, "And can you describe the financial impact of these unauthorized transactions?" Liam took a deep breath. "Over $450,000 was drained from our joint accounts, and 3 properties were nearly sold without my knowledge. It was a systematic attempt to strip me of everything." The questions went on, each answer a nail in Ethan's coffin. When Liam stepped down, Amelia's eyes followed him, a silent plea in her gaze. He didn't acknowledge it. Instead, he walked past her, his head high, his dignity intact. Outside, Sarah Klein waited, her recorder ready. "Liam, how does it feel to see justice served?" He paused, choosing his words carefully. "It's not about justice. It's about moving forward. I'm done looking back." Her article would call him the Phoenix, a moniker that would stick, cementing his transformation in the public eye. Weeks later, Liam sat in a therapist's office, a cozy space with soft lighting and a view of Puget Sound. Dr. Elena Torres, a calm woman with sharp insights, leaned forward, her notepad resting on her lap. "You've been through a lot, Liam," she said. "Betrayal like that, it leaves scars. How are you coping?" Liam shifted, the leather chair creaking. "I keep busy. The new company, the investors, it's a distraction. But at night, it's hard. I see her face, hear her voice. I wonder where I went wrong." Elena nodded. "You didn't go wrong. You trusted someone you loved. The fault lies with her choices, not yours. Have you thought about what you need to heal?" He hesitated. "I want to let go. Not for her, for me. I don't want to carry this anger forever." "That's a good start," Elena said. "Healing isn't linear. It's about small steps, rebuilding trust, not just in others but in yourself." Liam took her advice to heart. He joined a local hiking group, finding solace in the rugged trails of the Cascades. He reconnected with old friends, their laughter a balm to his wounds. At night, he journaled, pouring out the pain and anger, slowly untangling the knots of betrayal. Chloe became a constant presence, her humor and loyalty a lifeline. One evening, over pizza and beer, she nudged him playfully. "You're smiling more," she said. "It's a good look." He grinned, the first genuine smile in months. "Thanks to you. You've been my rock, Chloe." She waved him off, but her eyes sparkled. "Just don't make me do all the heavy lifting next time, okay?" The turning point came on a quiet Sunday morning. Liam sat on his balcony, a cup of coffee warming his hands, watching the ferries glide across the sound. His phone buzzed, an email from Amelia, Forwarded by Rachel. Liam, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I need to say this. I was wrong. I was selfish, scared, and stupid. Ethan manipulated me, but I made my own choices. I'm paying for them now, and I hope one day you can find peace. I'll always regret losing you. Liam read it twice, his chest tight. He waited for the familiar surge of anger, but it didn't come. Instead, he felt nothing. Not forgiveness, not hatred, just a quiet detachment. He realized he didn't need her apology. He didn't need her at all. He called Chloe, needing to share the moment. I got an email from Amelia, he said when she answered. And? She asked, her voice cautious. I don't care, he said, a smile creeping into his tone. I'm done carrying her. I'm ready to let it go. Chloe let out a whoop. That's my guy. You're free, Liam. You hear me? Free. He hung up, leaning back in his chair. The city stretched before him, a canvas of possibility. He wasn't the man he'd been a year ago, naive, trusting, broken. He was stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever came next. 6 months later, Liam stood at the helm of Carverteca's launch event, a sleek venue packed with investors, tech journalists, and industry leaders. The room buzzed with excitement as he unveiled his cybersecurity platform, designed to protect against financial fraud. The irony wasn't lost on him. His pain had birthed something that could save others. He took the stage, his voice steady. This isn't just a company, he said, his eyes scanning the crowd. It's a promise, to protect what matters, to rebuild after loss, to rise stronger than before. The applause was deafening, but Liam's focus was on the people who'd carried him through. Chloe, grinning from the front row, Marcus, giving a thumbs up, Rachel, nodding proudly. They were his family now, forged in the fire of betrayal. After the event, Chloe pulled him aside, her eyes gleaming. You did it, Phoenix. You turned their lies into something unstoppable. Liam smiled, the weight of the past finally gone. We did it, he corrected. And this is just the beginning. As he stepped into the night, the Seattle skyline glowing behind him, Liam felt like a man reborn. The ashes of his old life had settled, and from them, a new future had risen, one he'd built, brick by brick, with his own hands. The end.